It has come to my attention that LagOps has recently released a Battleforge PvP guide. I've watched it, and while I do think it is the best PvP guide to date, it does breeze over an important topic: deck building. So in response, how to get good at deck building. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is name our deck. This is the most important part. It can be something deceiving, or perhaps something infuriating, but I'm not that kind of guy, so I won't do that. It could perhaps prepare your opponent to play a deck you're not about to play. It could be a subtle complaint. It could be a random arrangement of numbers and letters. Or it could be a warning. You should do this because your opponents are gonna need it. Now that we've named the deck, we need to put our cards in. I'm going to start tier 1 fire because that's the best faction, mostly because of one specific card. But overall, we just want to play at Bandit's deck because, as everyone knows, Bandits is the most overpowered faction in the game. There are so many other factions that are just completely helpless to Bandit tactics. They have no counterplay whatsoever. So to start with our fire tier 1, we need a swift unit, which is either a scavenger or a nomad. Choice is easy. Nomads are completely broken and overpowered. But then you may wonder, should we go with the green nomad or the red nomad? Some decisions are too difficult, just take both. And the reason you want to take both is because they stack, see? Nomads get their special ability buff when there's 3 of a kind, but if you put like 2 of one, maybe 2 red, and 1 green, everybody still gets the buff anyway. It's just so overpowered! So you want both nomads just to be prepared for every scenario. Plus, you'll be spamming them so much that you'll want twice the charges. So you should win like 90-95% of your matches with just a single card in there twice. But every now and then you're running against a player who's good enough to... I know it's hard to believe, but there are a handful of players who are good enough to defend a nomad spam. So that's what the other 18 deck slots are for. So the next thing you want to add to your deck is Eruption. Eruption is good because you want to spam it. You can just spam this guy all day, right? You can kill units with it, you can drop wells with it, you can even kill flying things with it. If your nomads get rooted, just Eruption spam whoever's shooting at them. You don't need archers if you got Eruptions, so we can basically ignore Sunstriders and Firesworn. We do want some sort of ranged attack in our tier 1, and we want an S counter because nomads are M counters, so let's throw in Makeshift Tower. This card's almost as overpowered as nomads. It just knocks back all these S units, it just obliterates them. They can't do anything about it. Just look at that destruction, look how helpless those S units are right now. Makeshift Tower is just so OP. Fire has just so many OP tier 1 cards, I don't know why the game is not just all fire players. But since we did decide not to take Sunstriders, we should probably throw in Suppression into our deck. Just in case the enemy decides to use those OP Makeshift Towers on you, you can use the Suppression to take them out. So now that we've filled out our tier 1, it's time to move on to tier 2. As we've already discussed, we'll play Shadow tier 2 because Bandits is just the strongest tier 2 faction. First we want to put in buffs, so like all of them, because buffs are the strongest cards in the game. I mean, that's why we're playing Bandits, to just overbuff everything. If you've got access to a buff, you should use it. So like, Ravage, Life Moving, non-holy power go in, no questions asked. This way you can just super buff all your units and they'll be really strong and you don't even have to think about them. You can throw in Warrior's Death just to prevent CCs too. Warrior's Death is completely broken because it makes it so your units can't be CC'd, which is especially useful for your Bandits cards because they're all so strong anyway. Now you can't have a tier 2 with just spells, so let's add some cheap spammy units. I think Banditos will do nicely. The other thing you'll want to add are Commandos. If you've ever felt that moment of helplessness as your opponent dropped a squad of Commandos on you and they just ate away at your well because you could not kill them, that's the feeling we're going to give to our opponents. When they use their ability, they already take almost no damage, but it gets even worse when you add buffs. Like let's add like a Ravage and a Life Weaving and an Only Power, and then they basically are indestructible. Nothing can kill them. Now, obviously there's a super hard counter to Commandos, which is the Mauler, but come on, you gotta get with the metagame. Nobody uses Mauler in the metagame, so you don't have to worry about them at all. The next card you want to take is going to be your Bandit Stalker. Some people may ask why you'd want to add a Bandit Stalker, but the reason is quite simple. Bandit Stalkers deal 100% more damage against beasts. Beasts, right? That's crazy. Every unit that can possibly give you trouble is a beast, and this card just nullifies them entirely. Burrower, Scythefiend, and Nightcrawler, 3 of the strongest units in the game, completely destroyed by the Bandit Stalker. And if that's not enough, 25% of the damage goes through Ice Shields and Glacier Shells, which are pretty much the only 2 things left in the game that annoy you. Basically, Bandit Stalker's overpowered because he makes all your bad matchups good. I really don't know why this card hasn't been nerfed to oblivion yet, but until it does, you should abuse it. Because that's the right way to treat strong cards. But like, every now and then you'll go up against a good natured player who knows how to spam his CCs, so there's another card you can add to really just make your deck super uncounterable even by those nature players that like to spam CCs. Phase Tower is the nature player's biggest nightmare, even in tier 2. Phase Towers are so good because they are mobile buildings. That means they have great stats and they cannot be CC'd. They're so good even in tier 2. Even in tier 2, Nature and Frost just cannot deal with a Phase Tower spam. So just play the Phase Tower, spam it, and then laugh as your opponent starts flaming. As I've discussed many times on the various guides I've done, sick combos are the #1 most important thing you can have in your deck. So we can ignore cards that everybody uses, like Dark Elf Assassins and Nightcrawlers that quote-unquote fill in weaknesses of your deck, because if you're just attacking, their weaknesses won't even be exposed, so you don't need to worry about them. So we're going to go for the sick combos. That means Bandit Sorceress. This guy significantly increases the building's range and also makes it take less damage. Let's go OP Phase Towers! So you can just pop the Bandit Sorceress into the Phase Tower, teleport it, and you've got this mobile tower of destruction that can snipe everything from super far away and doesn't die. You've also got a makeshift tower you can combo this with. What's better than a makeshift tower that knocks away all S units? A makeshift tower that knocks away all S units from even further away and takes less damage than normal. It's so overpowered! So if you look at our deck, we've got some small counters, we've got some medium counters, but we don't have any large counters. And we don't have anything that can heal. So our deck is a little bit unbalanced, but we can still fix this. You know what we have to do. Moon. Moon is a great card. She has phenomenal stats and she kills large units super duper fast, and she even has this poison that makes them walk slower so they can't run away. But more importantly, she can heal your units if there are lots of corpses. And there will be lots of corpses because you are bandits and you kill everything. The healing is super nice and it really complements your tier 2. Heals are important, even if your units don't have much health to heal anyway. Now we've got 5 cards left for tier 3, which is perfect because tier 3 is the best part of the game, and you want to have all those deck slots for your OP tier 3 cards. So we've already played a Fire Orb and a Shadow Orb, and now we're going to play another Fire Orb. Mind-blowing, right? Now wait till you get to the good part. You saw that correctly. Fire Dancers. In tier 3. Fire Dancers are so overpowered that they're even strong in tier 3. They can cliff, and they have this super long range, and they just do like an insane amount of damage and just destroy all structures. Fire Dancer does 200% extra damage to structures. Did somebody say combos with Unholy Power? So Fire Dancers are going to be your main unit in tier 3. Even though they're tier 2 cards for a different faction, they're so strong that they're still your best option for tier 3. So now let's look for sick combos with the Fire Dancer. Remember, all you have to do is buff your Fire Dancer so it's stronger than any of your opponent's units, and you've got the game won. We've got our Life Weaving, Ravage, Unholy Power, and Warrior's Death, but there's still another important buff missing from our deck. Let's check out Girl Power. You'll want the blue Girl Power because it'll make your Fire Dancers deal 50% more damage and take 25% less damage. Most people think Girl Power is a waste of a deck slot, but come on, your Fire Dancer needs every buff she can get. Plus, since she already does 200% extra damage against structures, that 50% damage is actually 100% more damage. So you can just take like a handful of Fire Dancers and then just buff them with all sorts of different buffs, you know, Ravage, Life Weaving, Unholy Power, Girl Power. You can even throw in a Warrior's Death when you want to make sure that that unit can't be CC'd and it's going to finish off the wall. And then those Fire Dancers will just go on an unstoppable rampage and destroy every single structure your opponent has. I hate to repeat myself, but Fire Dancers on buffs are just so overpowered! So we're set. We know how to spam our Fire Dancers, but we still have 3 more slots in our tier 3, so we can just use those to even buff our Fire Dancers more. The next card I want us to consider is Warlock. The one that makes your units take 25% less damage is pretty good, but the one that makes your units deal 25% more damage is even better, because the Fire Dancer, remember, it already has 150% siege damage, so you add 25% more to that, and I don't want to do the math, but it's like a lot of damage. So you can make a Warlock, and then, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 50 Fire Dancers, and then they can just go against whatever they want and destroy it. Simple as that. Look at how fast that thing dies. And it's not even a structure! Alright, so we still got 2 more deck slots, and there's one more really good buff that we haven't used yet. Unity. Remember what I was saying about sick combos? Unity allows for some super duper sick combos. So for one, you could just put the Unity on 50 Fire Dancers, which is so overpowered because Fire Dancers are overpowered to begin with. But also, you could throw in maybe like a squad of Commandos with your Fire Dancers. And then those Commandos could get buffed with, you know, Life Weaving and Unholy Power and things like that. And they won't die because they'll take almost no damage, and so all your Fire Dancers will survive basically anything because they'll spread all the damage to each other. So sick. Now some people may wonder, isn't it a little risky to just rely on one card for our tier 3? But no, it's okay. When that card is as overpowered as Fire Dancers, it doesn't even matter. Nobody's getting around them, so we don't need any more units. But we do have one more deck slot left, and we might as well fill it. And if we're gonna fill it, we gotta use the most overpowered card that's not already in our deck, right? So let's add the Incredible Mo statue. This statue is so good, it's so overpowered. Look, it's kind of like a Will of Gifts, but it also has the option for like 100 power to drop lightning storms all over the map, and you can just keep doing it and globally kill everything. It's so good. Best of all, that 100 power counts as an ability, so all of it goes back to the void. What you can really do for even more sick combos is you can add the Bandit Sorceress and put it into the Mo statue, and then you can drop lightning storms all over the map. I don't really know what the Bandit Sorceress does to the lightning storm effect, but it has to be overpowered. So thank you guys for watching this tutorial, and I hope you all learned a lot.